Good morning once again, and welcome to another edition of Our Town here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swinson. Our Town, as always, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust. A little later on in the program, we will be joined by Katie O'Regan. She is with the Star City Film Festival. It's an event coming to Lansing this year, and it's taking place this weekend. And Katie will tell us all about that coming up this weekend. The Winneshiek County Sheriff's Office recently released some statistics comparing the first 6 months of 2022 as compared to the first 6 months of 2023, and we'll break down some of those statistics with Winneshiek County Sheriff Dan Marx. And our first guest this morning will be Makayla Rethamel. She is with the Allamakee County Fair Board. Allamakee County Fair starts next Wednesday in Waukon. We will preview the fair right now. This is Our Town. It's brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust, and you're listening to it on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. Next week is the 2023 edition of the Allamakee County Fair, and here to preview it, Makayla Rethamel from the Allamakee County Fair Board. 5 days away from the fair, and Makayla, you guys all ready to go?
Yeah, we're getting close. Our barns are busting with animals and exhibits and stuff for this year. So that's wonderful to have such good participation from the 4-H and FFA side, as well as people in the community excited to come out.
And of course, we'll touch on the entertainment, the grandstand entertainment, et cetera, and everything else. But it's really the 4-H and FFA, that's what the fair is all about.
Right. We love seeing those kids getting out there from, the little Clover kids, the tiny tots, all the way up to seniors in high school. It's nice to see them being with their friends, making new memories, learning new things every year.
And the grandstand entertainment will begin next Wednesday night, and you can buy booklets for all 5 nights or go single nights. How do people purchase tickets for the grandstand entertainment starting next week?
Yeah, so you can buy the ticket books in advance. They're $40, and they include all 5 nights. You can get them at any local bank, Village Farm and Home, and walk on. I'm trying to think of where else. Those are locally where you can purchase, or you can purchase on our website. Go to our fair page, allamakeecountyfair.org, and there's a link there that says buy tickets. You can purchase them online. If you want to come just one night, they're $15 per ticket, and children 10 and under are free this year. So you can purchase online or at any of the local banks in town.
And let's go over some of that grandstand entertainment. You mentioned the booklets are $40. That's $8 a night for entertainment. You're not going to get a better deal than that.
Right, exactly. Wednesday night we have the truck and tractor pull, and so that is open obviously to anybody to participate. We are this year having free admission for any military, current or former military personnel. We want to recognize them and all of their sacrifices that they make for us. So that'll be starting the fair on Wednesday night. On Thursday night, we'll have the motocross coming in, and so they do have local riders that come. So if you're interested in participating in that, let us know, and we can get you hooked up on who to contact. On Friday, that'll be our concert night, and so we'll have Big Time Grain Company visiting us on their farm fuel tour with the Iowa Soybean Association. They're out of Kansas City, and so they did a lot of playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they've done, they've had their own tours and stuff, so we're excited to have them. They are a country western kind of country rock band, and opening for them will be Flatland Ridge, so we like having them every year. Saturday will be the at 6:00 p.m. with mutton busting. So if you have a child that wants to participate in that, we'll have sign up before the event. I think they have to be under 75 pounds and provide your own helmet. And so that's always fun to see the little kids out there participating in the rodeo. And then we'll wrap up on Sunday with the Tough event. That'll be at 1:00 in the grandstand.
And in addition to the grandstand entertainment, a lot of contests, a lot of shows, a lot of entertainment that is available for free on the grounds. Tell us a little bit about those.
Absolutely. We really like it when families can come up and participate in the fair. And, sometimes if you've got big families, taking them to the fair isn't always very cheap. And so we've got different activities from kids shows to magic shows. We've got a caricature artist, face painting, balloon twisting. There are all some free things that are going on every day that you can participate in. We have different content from cookie cook-off contest to new this year. We have a homemade lemonade contest, and so if you want to try and make up a favorite lemonade concoction, we invite you to do that on Wednesday. We've also got a duct tape contest. There's salsa contests and dip contests. So lots of different things to participate in that are free this year.
And spectacular amusement's going to be on the midway, and those rides are going to be available Wednesday through Sunday. Always good to bring the kids out and wear some energy off, right?
That's exactly right. Yes, we wristband. We sell wristbands every night for that, and so a single day wristband is $20, and that gets you, if you want to come up on Wednesday and ride rides, you can ride all the rides you want for $20. We also are selling mega bands, and that's good for the whole fair. So if you've got a kid that wants to come up every day and ride rides, they're $50 and they can ride rides the whole week. So a couple different options there.
And so much food. As I always say, if you walk away from a county fair hungry, it's your own darn fault.
Exactly right. Yes, we're excited. We've got, of course, our 4-H food stand, and the dairy stand will be there, and the grandstand food stand. But we've got a new one this year. It's a mini donut stand, so that'll be good. And we've also Timar Acres. They're a local business. Oli and Lena's Kitchen. They're also a local business, and Smokin' Monkey. And so there's quite a few different food trucks that'll be up there this year for people to enjoy.
And from what I understand, you have a capital campaign for some fairgrounds improvements. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we last year was our first year in the new show barn, and it was breathtaking, walking in there and seeing, such a nice facility. And so we're still working on, making improvements to that and raising funds for that as well. And then, of course, just, general grandstand improvements. We made improvements to our pavilion. Over this past year, we added a covered porch in the front, made it more handicap accessible. So we're always looking to improve ways for people to enjoy the fair, not just during the fair, but also year round as well.
Anything we're missing, Makayla? Anything else you want to pass on from the fair board's perspective as you get ready for a fun time of year next week and walk on?
I don't think so. We are just really excited to have everybody join us this year. Our website has pretty much everything you would need to know for the fair. It's got a full schedule on there. And so we just, the fair board works very hard outside of just the fair time, trying to get the grounds going and stuff and volunteering time, so and are able to have a good time.
All right, Makayla, we appreciate you taking some time previewing next week's Allamakee County Fair with us. Here's to a fun week and walk on next week. And we thank you and every member of the Fair Board for all the hard work you put in to make sure this is a memorable event for everybody.
Yes, thank you so much.
Makayla Rethamel from the Allamakee County Fair. Allamakee County Fair, July 19th through the 23rd in Walk On. Having a conversation this morning with Winneshiek County Sheriff Dan Marx. Recently, the Winneshiek County Sheriff's Office released some numbers comparing crime statistics from January to June of last year to January to June of this year. Before we break down some of those numbers, Dan, when it comes to reports like this, what can these reports tell us? What can't they tell us?
Well, is it with anything with statistical reports, they don't tell the whole story. Statistics there's always variables to statistics. So I'm careful whenever you just look at numbers, because I don't think it gives us full scope of what's going on. I think numbers can make things look worse than what they are. And frankly, I think numbers can make things look better than what they are. But they are numbers. You can't argue with numbers are numbers. We do have to pay attention to them. And it gives us what I would call kind of a snapshot of where we're at as compared to last year at this time. This doesn't encompass all of the calls. I mean, the calls for service on top encompasses all of our calls for service through the first 6 months of the year, but it doesn't necessarily break down what all those calls were. We tried to kind of glean out, just for a quick reference, what the calls were that are maybe a little more comparable to last year and whatnot, to give more of a short, quick reference. On our website and on our Facebook page, we give a monthly report that does a full breakdown of every single call that we take during each month. So if someone wants a more detailed report, we're not trying to keep it from them. There's nothing like that. Go on our website. They can go, but you can go back as far as you want to all the monthly reports. But I will say, even with monthly reports, you can only put so much together. Those are still numbers. They don't encompass everything. You know, and another thing when it comes to call stats and call volume, you know, you can take 1 or 2 calls that might take weeks or months of time of investigation, yet they generate 1 stat. You can take other stats that might look really fancy or look like there's a lot going on, but maybe they only took a few minutes per call. So those are some of the variables that the numbers themselves don't always tell the full story.
That being said, what conclusions did you draw based on the report that you published about a week and a half ago?
Yeah, this particular report, and the reason we put it out, everything I just said, I would say this is kind of an exception to that rule. I think this does kind of, there's some fairly indisputable data in this report that I think is worth paying attention to for us as an office and how we're going to enforce things, and for the public to be aware of. And the major thing would be is a number of felony level charges and drug cases that we've had so far in just this first 6 months of 2023. It's important to remember that when we're looking at all these calls, these are not annual stats. These are only 6 months. And when you start looking at numbers, you know, you can be a little high, a little low, but when you start looking at numbers that are doubling in some areas, and in other areas, when you look at like methamphetamine seized, that we went from 2 grams the first 6 months of last year to over 5,000 grams, nearly 5,100 grams this year. You can't ignore that. I mean, that's an overwhelming spike. You know, some of the other numbers that you see that have doubled, you know, search warrants, canine searches, things like that, I would consider those more fallout from the other numbers. So to be fair, you could make the argument those numbers are redundant because they're numbers off of the cases that we're showing high numbers for. So they're all kind of working together.
Is there more drug uses in Winneshiek County, or are authorities doing a better job of getting on the front end and charging the people that are bringing this stuff to our county?
Well, of course, I'm going to say it's the latter. I mean, no, in all seriousness, I think it's you don't know what you don't know. So I'm always careful to say that there's more or less drug use, because we only know what we're investigating and what's reported to us. So I don't know that I could that I could confidently say, or I'll put it this way, that I would be able to back up an assertion either way. If I was pressed on the issue of how can I back up my answer that there's less drug use or more drug use, I would probably struggle to be able to do that, because we only know what we know. So I will say that we are going after very aggressively and more aggressively than we have in the past reports of drug use, especially when it comes to fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, things of that nature. We're doing an enhanced push on that. And so, yeah, our enforcement efforts are up. And we're doing that for multiple reasons. And hopefully the fallout from that, when people see that, hey, you know, the sheriff's office is being very aggressive on these things, they are being successful at bringing charges, they are getting these hard drugs off the streets, that people think twice about bringing them here to Winneshiek County. That is one of the intended goals.
You know, the numbers for your county is, as you talk to your law enforcement colleagues in other areas, are they seeing similar situations to what you're dealing with?
Yeah, I think that they are. So, you know, I would cautiously say maybe drug use is up. I think maybe but like I said, I can't back that up. I think it's more the type of drugs that we're seeing that's probably I'd say it's more of a shift. You know, when you look back 20 years ago, meth labs, that's all we heard about was meth labs, Iowa meth labs. Unfortunately, I think Iowa got coined, somebody decided gave us a label of the meth lab capital of the world. Whatever that means, bottom line is meth labs were the thing that were our biggest concern. We're not seeing nearly the amount of labs and stuff anymore. Now we're seeing a pure form come into Iowa that's already been kind of developed, and we're seeing it come in from, you know, I can't give away. So these are open cases that we're still dealing with, but I'll say a broad nationwide system that we're seeing it come in from.
And you just referenced heavy drugs. Of course, there's always going to be the debate like between marijuana and the fentanyl and the methamphetamines of the world. In general, are law enforcement more aggressive going after the fentanyl and the methamphetamines than the quote unquote lighter drugs such as marijuana?
The short answer is yes. Yes, we do go after the heavier drugs, the methamphetamines, the fentanyls, the cocaines, some of those things. We are going after those harder. I want to be clear. Marijuana in Iowa, until the law is changed, is still illegal. And we have an obligation to enforce the law. But as far as what do we put the majority of our time and resources into investigating and being more aggressive on, trying to think of a correct way to say this without, but the short answer, as you said, Darren, is yes, we do put a heavier, lack of a better way of putting it, a heavier effort or more direct mission into the quote hard drugs. That's an accurate statement. Yes.
And that just prompted another question that I wasn't planning on asking you, but as of August 1st, marijuana is going to be legal 20 miles from our border in the state of Minnesota. Do you expect any potential headaches because of that?
I think we will see some. I mean, with our border being, like I said, our county line is also synonymous with our state line.
Yeah.
So we border Minnesota. So people do go back and forth for commerce. I think we're going to see some people we're going to see some increased probably marijuana issues, just maybe some of it intentional, being that close to the border and easy access. Maybe some of it would be inadvertent, where somebody's coming down from a state where it's legal and they find themselves in a jam if they get caught up here in Iowa where it's illegal. Like I said, you know, it is still illegal and we still do enforce marijuana laws. I don't want to, you know, confuse those lines at all. Mm-hmm. We are enforcing marijuana laws, and as long as it's legal, as long as it's illegal, we will continue to enforce it unless the law should change. And at that point, obviously, we change direction. I'm simply saying as far as what we put our more investigative efforts into.
And when it comes to numbers, that like in the report that you released, what do you do with those numbers? Do you change enforcement investigative policies? How do you take those numbers and turn them into practical application?
We do. We're constantly reevaluating where our time and resources is put into. We only have so much time and we only have so many resources. And we have to be strategic to where they go, as to value, one, the tax dollar, and everything costs money. You know, every investigation costs money. And so where can we best stretch that dollar for the most benefit to the citizens and the people of Winneshiek County and the people that we serve? And the other thing we look at is what the will of the people is. What do they want us putting a focal point on? What do they want us looking into harder and spending our efforts? What kind of law enforcement do they want to see here in Winneshiek County? We balance all those things together, and yeah, policy is formed on that.
And I also look at your statistics related to traffic citations and traffic written warnings. They're very similar in the first 6 months of last year as compared to this year, even though there has been a slight decrease in traffic citations and written warnings this year. If you're having to spend so much time focusing on the drug game here in Winneshiek County, does that lessen the amount of times that you can put towards traffic safety?
It does. Yes. It does. Unfortunately, like I said, there's only so much time in the day, and we're in the people business, and we're all human beings as well, and we can't be two places at the same time. And if we're doing one thing over here, we're not doing something else over here. So that unfortunately, probably not the answer some people are looking for, but patrol and traffic patrol in particular can lessen and can suffer when we get busy doing these other cases that we have no choice but to put a priority on. And yeah, it's a true statement, Darren. And obviously we try to balance everything. Traffic, kind of like when you asked about marijuana, traffic enforcement is still alive and well, just like marijuana enforcement is. But to say that it's a priority with the other things that we have going on, unfortunately, sometimes it does take a back seat on occasion when we have bigger crimes that we have to investigate. That
in the big picture is
what.
Go ahead.
I was just say when you get into the narcotics problems that we've been having in narcotics enforcement, it's not just about somebody doing drugs. It oftentimes leads to, we've had, increase in burglaries. We've had an uptick in vehicle thefts, auto thefts. It leads to other things that then keep us busy from there. So it tends to have a snowball effect. That's why we want to try to take it out at its origin and keep it in check at its origin.
And in the big picture, based on this report we're talking about this morning, what would be your overall message to the Winneshiek County community based on what you've seen in the first 6 months here of 2023?
If you see something, say something. We rely on the people to give us tips. Without the people working with us and trusting us and knowing that we will follow up on their reports, it makes our job very difficult. The reason we've been able to be so successful is because of the good people of Winneshiek County have entrusted us to know that if they report something to us, it's going to be followed up on, it's going to be followed through with, and we're going to do our very best to keep whatever the concern is in their neighborhood in check. If we don't have trust, we can't get out of the chute. So let us know if you see something. If you're suspicious of something, be in communication with us. Kind of goes back to your question, Darren. Can I say definitively if people are doing more drugs or less drugs than they did a few years ago? All I can do is go by the information that's relayed to us and what we're seeing as we follow up on that information. That's why I'm hesitant to answer that question. Anything else you want to pass on to the public, as long as you got a forum this morning? I just want to drive home that any tips, anything people, if they have, something's bothering them, it doesn't have to be drug related. It doesn't have to be anything, that's reflected in this report that went out. It can be anything. And just because we're busy working on other things, we'll make time. Everybody's situation that they're dealing with is important to them. If it wasn't, they wouldn't take the time to call the sheriff's office. It's a big step for the average person to call law enforcement. So we understand if somebody calls here with a concern, it's something that's very important to them. And we take that very seriously. And we will follow up on whatever their situation is, no matter how big or how small. We will make time for their situation.
And we appreciate the time, the information, as always. Thanks for all you and all of the Winneshiek County Sheriff's Office do to keep this county a safe place and a happy place to live.
Thank you, Darren, and big thank you to all the people in Winneshiek County for continuing to work with us. Appreciate it.
Dan Marx, Winneshiek County Sheriff. Coming up this weekend is the Star City Film Festival. It'll take place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Lansing. Here to talk about the event is Katie O'Regan. Haven't had you on since last year's film festival. Katie, it's been too long. My apologies.
Hi, Darren. I'm so happy to be here. It seems like it was just a minute ago that we had this conversation about last year's film festival, right? Wild. It's just wild. This is our 5th season already for the film festival. Yeah, crazy.
How the original idea to start this festival, how did it come to fruition?
I had a dream. I was working in Spring Grove at Giants of the Earth Heritage Center. I was an independent contractor for them, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, we should do a film festival in the Midwest. I just moved back. I lost my mama and all my friends in New York and across the country were doing films, and I thought, maybe we should bring them here. And I threw that out to everybody. And they're like, how do you do that? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. So we figured it out. And then I got another dream and I was like, what if we had Ed Asner? He's an iconic dude. And amazing. And by the grace of God, it's just crazy how it all worked out. But that's how it started. And then I left, and I always worked for Sacred Noise Society for my company for years. I've always been the founder and artistic director of it. And then I left Giants of the Earth because the pandemic happened and, there was nothing going on. And so I just decided because it was my film festival to begin with, I just decided to keep it going, and everything just happened from there. And I just keep doing it every year, and every year it gets bigger and more interesting. This year, it's really all about the filmmakers that are coming. We have a lot of filmmakers coming this year. We have like 33 films, and more than half of the filmmakers are going to come. And then we have script writers, and we're doing some live staged readings of their brand new scripts that have never been filmed at the Red Barn Inn on Friday night, which is a new thing for me this year, which is very exciting.
How did you decide on Lansing being this year's location?
I did it in Spring Grove. I did it in Caledonia. I did it in Waukon, and I love all three of those towns very much. And I did it in Sheboygan, and I love Sheboygan as well. But Lansing is kind of like this sort of epicenter of, it's right by the Mississippi. There's beautiful places to stay. It's not far from either one of those towns except for Sheboygan, which is 4 hours away. And I live in Waukon now as my permanent home. I renovated an old house, which we're just finishing up for the Sacred Noise Society headquarters. And I've always loved Lansing. I grew up going there with my family. We would drive to see our grandparents in Waukon and go across the bridge. And I always had wonderful, fun memories. And I love the people there. And it just works. TJ Hunters is going to be the headquarters on Saturday. It's a beautiful, beautiful event center right on Main Street. And then Lansing Works, which Marion Baldwin started, which is amazing space for people to come and to bring their office into Lansing, temporary. And she's remarkable. She's been very helpful. And she, by the way, is going to play in her trio for the red carpet on Saturday nights. Marianne Baldwin in the house while we all get dressed up. There's background music, and then we're gonna do some red carpet pictures, and everybody gets dressed up, and that's what's going to happen. And then we do Painting Jane, my feature film, and I do a little talk back, and then we have some more music, and we have some people can drink and talk and chat, dance. Jump in the river. I don't know.
And looking at the notes that you provided with the festival overview, you mentioned 40 filmmakers and script writers were chosen. How does that process come to fruition? How were these filmmakers chosen to come to Lansing this weekend?
I work on the festival for about a year, and people submit from all over the country and the world their films, short films and feature films on Film Freeway. And I have a mission with the film festival to have a certain type of film that's inspirational, that's very diverse, but really inspiring and artistic. And I choose the films based upon that merit. I don't want one kind of film. There's lots of comedy this year, lots of really quirky, interesting comedy, lots of shorts. And then the features that I chose are just really profound and they just deserve to be shown. And so my mission is to help other artists because I am one myself and I know what it takes to do what they do. They spend their money and their time and their livelihood, their everything to do this. And I saw it's a gift for me to give them a platform. I love my filmmakers. I get to know them and they're wonderful.
And I have to ask out of my own ignorance, define a short film, define a documentary, define a feature film. How are they the same? How are they different?
That's a great question. That's a thanks for asking that question. A short film, yeah, absolutely. A short film is considered anything from, 1 minute until usually, 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
A documentary is a documentary of real life.
Okay.
And that's usually about, you can do a short documentary or a regular documentary. Documentaries can be anything 45 minutes to, 2 hours. But they're not scripted. A documentary is not scripted. A feature scripted film is one that, a writer wrote and actors act. And that's a really big difference between a feature film is always has to be over an hour. And then it can be up to, 3 hours, but it's usually hour 45 minutes, hour 30, something like that. My feature is Painting Jane is an hour 37 minutes. And then you have, the different categories that we choose. Is it a comedy film? Is it a Wisconsin filmmaker? Is it an Iowa filmmaker? Is it I have a really cool category that is very close to my heart. I have autistic filmmakers category, and we get some amazing films from people that are really gifted, who have talk about autism or deal with it. And it's, to me, it's not a handicap, it's really a gift. That's what I think of autism. So you don't know if the filmmaker has autism or not. It's not a thing. Oh, there's Lacey. There's my little dog Lacey, who's the star of my film. Hi, Lace. Anyway, that's a category. I have a special fondness for family friendly films. I always say I don't want to show any film that a kid couldn't come to, although it's definitely an adult film festival. There's not a child's category.
Mm-hmm.
The children are certainly welcome. There's probably only one that's a little bit more adult, but it's not, there's not anything that family can't come to. And this in our region, it's not, I would do this. It's not just because we're the Midwest, because there's people from all over the country coming. For me, it's my mission with Sacred Noise Society, which is my company.
Tell us about Painting Jane without giving away too many spoilers.
Well, Painting Jane it started out as Good Morning Miss America, and then we changed the name to Painting Jane for copyright issues. And I worked on it for about 4 years on this film. I first did it as a play. And I'm really lucky that we are getting, attention. We're on Prime Video now, just a few months ago, all across the world. And we also have distribution coming up all across the world, which on different platforms. I played Jane in it. I wrote it. I produced it. I directed it. I wrote this, all the songs for it, and I sang all the songs. And I swept all the floors. But that being said, I had an amazing, amazing shout out to Diana, Angelina, and all my cast, everybody who is phenomenal at it, really, Oh, Lacey saying, "I'm in it, Mom." Don't you mean? She's in 11 different scenes. Everybody who's in it is really fabulous, and it's my passion to support other filmmakers. And now I have all the the film equipment, and Lacey wants to be in another feature, so there we go. I also want to shout out for T. Meyer is a script reading that we're doing, that I'm also an actress in, that I got cast in, and we're going to do live staged reading with the cast from T. Meyer Friday night. That's going to be really fun. And then also we're showing two films at the Red Barn as well. After we do staged readings for like 2.5 hours with live actors, I'm going to be one of them. We're doing 2 films with a big blow-up screen outdoors. So it's going to be really fun. One is a really cool bike adventure, award-winning filmmaker from Minneapolis. And the next one is a really cool war movie. Burnt is coming, who's in it, and he won Best Actor in Iowa this year. And so we have a really interesting, cool lineup of amazing filmmakers and writers coming this year.
And I'll ask you, reflecting on your production of Painting Jane, but I think your story is probably similar to a lot of filmmakers that will be coming here this weekend. You mentioned Painting Jane was a 4-year process to put everything together. How rewarding is it to see all that work come together in a finished product. I'd imagine your story would be very similar to a lot of people that will be showing off their films this weekend. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's really bizarre to see your face and your work and your acting and your directing and your up on the big screen. I just last Sunday I got Painting Jane was shown in Vinton at the beautiful Palace Theater. They invited me to come down and I did a talk back and I got to speak to the audience and it was really warming for me. I just like to my mission is just to inspire people. I'm just a gal who's, born and raised in Northeast Iowa and been a gypsy across the country as an actor and a singer and a dancer and a painter. And coming back home, I really feel for the rest of my life, I'll just do this to help other people open up to their own creative voice, which is what Sacred Noise Society means. It's the sacred noise that's your own very creative voice within. And we all have one. And we're often really afraid to use it because it can be really, you have to be really vulnerable to open up your heart and say, hey, here, everybody, I'm doing this for you. I don't know if you're going to like it, but this is what I got. This is my story. Hope you like it. And it's terrifying sometimes for people to do that. And I'm no different. I worry about what people think sometimes. I'm really lucky. I get a lot of love from people and I give a lot of love from people, but it's hard. You're scared that people aren't going to like it or you're going to, so it's just that I think everything we do as human beings has that element to it. And I think we filmmakers and you as a wonderful, public figure every day on the radio, you probably do you experience anything like that? Do you ever get afraid?
I think it's very true because like so often, like I'm afraid to give like a hardcore opinion on anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm afraid to be me because I always try to showcase other people in pretty much everything I do. And I feel that's a lot of my mission as a broadcaster and a media figure, but also the voice people are listening to the most when it comes to news and sports on our stations is me. So it's where is it?
Right.
Yeah, where is that happy medium? And I think I can definitely relate to that. I guess I'll ask you, how do you get to that point? Is it just a case of just being comfortable with yourself and saying, here I am, world, here I am, let's have some fun?
Yeah, I think when you come as an artist and a public figure like yourself, undefended, we're born to be who we are. And if you're doing something that you feel is what you're meant to do, then one can't make apologies for it. And so this is what I've done my whole life. I've done this my entire life. And so I came to realize, in answer to your question, that I just accepted that's what I do. It's not an easy path in life. I worked in corporate America. I've done, big jobs. I have a, doctorate in education, and I've done all those kinds of things. And you make more money doing those things, but I sleep well and I have a blast and I love who I made. And, just got to be you. You have to have faith. You have to have faith in yourself, and you have to have faith that what your heart desires is what you're really supposed to do. And when people say, oh gosh, I have to find my purpose in life. And I say, well, you're probably doing what your purpose is. You don't accept that's what your purpose is.
I think that's very well put. And I also think, like, just me personally, as you get older, you get more comfortable doing that because,
yeah,
I mean, I'm in my middle 40s, and at this time, I'm probably not going to change too much. Moving.
Well, I hope you don't stop doing what you do. You do a phenomenal job. You inspire so many people.
And I thank you for that. But just as a person, you just accept who you are at this age. And if you don't by now, it's just like, well, you're going to be treading down a path or treading down a river without a path. So,
treading down a river without a path. It's really true. That's brilliant. It's you support so many people, and if you don't support people, I really believe this. If you do it just for yourself, it's never fun, and it doesn't work. If you support other people, it doesn't come back to you automatically. sometimes and for some people, it never comes back to you, but something else comes of it. And it's the bigger picture that we have no idea. And that's the surprise and wonder of living. And without, what do we have? If we know exactly if we say, okay, we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to look, and this is who we're going to hang out with, and this is who we're going to be with, there's no surprise and wonder. God's unanswered prayers. I really believe in that. The thing we want sometimes the most is not the thing we're supposed to do or get. And when we serve other people, pleasant surprises happen, and our purpose is used for the greater good. And so, with this festival, I mean, if someone would have told me I would be doing this 10 years ago, I would be like, what? But here we go. And it works really great. And wait till you see the people that are coming to town that have never been to this part of the beautiful God's country in Northeast Iowa. They'll love it. We have returning filmmakers as well, which is really exciting for me. And it's fabulous. It's going to be a great time. I'm really excited to do the live staged readings at the Red Barn Resort. So we're doing, so we're just giving actors like the script, and they've never read the script before. So it's called a cold read.
Okay.
And so the audience knows it's a cold read, and we have microphones and, stage there. And they've been great at the Red Barn Inn. And, thanks to our sponsors, Current Brothers too. Lansing is just showing up. Current Brothers, you're awesome. Val Reinke from Allamakee County. She's showing up and doing a wonderful thing. Thank you for the sponsorship on that. Like I said, Marianne, Red Barn Inn. And just, actually, there's going to be some amazing Ukrainian food, which Lesia, who has the frame shop in Lansing, they're going to serve Ukrainian food all day Saturday and Sunday. So you got to come buy some wonderful, yummy Ukrainian food. Delicious. Support the cause, man. It's delicious. I ordered it a couple weeks ago. It's yummy for sure.
And anything yummy is should be catered to all people. Let's get back to the festival itself. For those that want to come to Lansing this weekend, what's the best way to get all the information? What are admission charges? What are this? What are that? Give us all the details on that end of things.
So it's $45 for the entire weekend, which includes all the films, the red carpet, Sunday award ceremony. We're having more films. So it's a 3-day festival. We have an award ceremony, which the filmmakers get to find out which award they won, if they won one. So if you just want to come Friday night and not come to the red carpet, if you're doing something else that night, it's $20 to come Friday night and Saturday. And you can also come on Sunday. And if you just want to come to the red carpet, you just want to come hear the beautiful music, and hang out, put your pretty dress on, and watch Painting Jane, and have some fun little party after. Then that's $25. SacredNoiseSociety.org. You can buy it online, and so there's a donation. So if you want to buy 4 tickets, and it says donate, you put 4 times 45, right? Mm-hmm. And then you put that in and you push the button, and you get an email. Or you can buy them at the door too. It'd be great if you did it online. That way we know how many people, because we have a lot of people coming on Saturday night. But hey, I really want to tell people, if they can't, for some reason, afford $20 and they got 4 people that want to come see those films, please, we're a nonprofit organization. It's more about having the filmmakers' films be shown than it is, because what, people always come. We always have enough. We always have enough money. So if you can't afford something, come out. Email me, let me know, and come on. And if you can afford it, please double your ticket price and give lots more to help other people that can't.
And $45 for a full weekend of entertainment here in 2023. You can't get a better deal than that. Yeah,
you can't. I wanted to make it affordable for people.
Yeah.
And the filmmakers, I don't charge the filmmaker that comes in. The director gets free ticket. And if they bring other people, they pay something, but I never charge filmmakers because they give us enough. They come across the country. They do amazing things. So if you see a filmmaker around at the festival, tell them thank you. We also have t-shirts to sell, and they're going to be $25 each. Some really cool, this color t-shirt, and hats that say the film festival on it. So please come support that. It's going to be just a hoot. It's going to be super chill. I'm just going to try to enjoy the wonderful moments with everybody. because I have a certain piece about it. This year I lost my daddy, and it's dedicated to him this year. So, oh, and we're lighting the Lansing Bridge, by the way. The Lions Club does this. On Friday nights, we're lighting the beautiful Lansing Bridge that crosses the Mississippi in honor of Ed Asner, who was our honor ceremony master of ceremonies. I just said that wrong. So Ed, this is for you because we lost him, not that long ago. And he would be here this year too, if he was alive. So Friday night, we're lighting the bridge for Ed Asner. And we have some vintage t-shirts from our first 2 festivals with his face on it that you could buy. And then Saturday night, we're lighting the bridge for my daddy, Francis James O'Regan. And it's a special film festival this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anything we're missing? Anything else you want to pass on that we haven't touched upon? I
just want to encourage everyone to come. If you can't come for the whole festival, come for a few films. Come to the Red Barn if you like outdoor, thing, or if you love stage theater. We're gonna have some. If you want to volunteer, get a hold of me on sacrednoisesociety.org. I know Adam Houghton, shout out to you. You're going to come bring your guys and girls from Wolfpack, maybe to volunteer to help. So I don't know. You're going to see some interesting people, and we do talkbacks on Sunday. Keith Kelly's doing a really beautiful film, very inspirational on Sunday at Lansing Works, and he's going to do a talkback. He's an actor and a director that you shouldn't miss. Also, we're doing another talkback film about Black Hawk that's an original, interesting thing to listen to at TJ Hunter's with the filmmaker, and he has a book that he sells too. And I don't know, there's just some really, it's hard to say. If you look at the program, there's going to be more details online. You could go to Sacred Noise Society and click for the films and the times. There's going to be more detail in the next couple days about each film.
Okay.
But I would say, come and watch the films that you wouldn't think you'd like. The short, cool, interesting, quirky films, because you learn something. They're very provoking. And they're not, we got a horror film by Megan Fitzgerald. Gosh, I can't talk today. Megan Fitzgerald, M.R. Fitzgerald. And she's one of my returning filmmakers. And she does a horror movie, and she's brilliant at it. So there's something for everyone, I think. We have a great comedian. He's coming from New Jersey. He's got a short film we're showing on Saturday night. He's hilarious. It's adorable. He's going to stand up and talk about it right before we do Painting Jane. Oh. So it's interesting.
I have to ask one final deep probing question.
Yeah.
How tough is Lacey's agent to deal with?
Lacey's agent. Oh my gosh, this little boopsie. Hi, boopsie.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Lacey.
Lacey's agent, Mama, is just she just loves this baby girl. She's quite a good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. She was the star of the show when we at Vinton. I took her up on stage with me because she's in 11 scenes, and she was so cute when the audience applauded for me. I curtsied, and then I said, Lacey, can you curtsy? And she went boop, and popped right up like a curtsy. I was like, oh my God, you are such a ham, Lacey.
Just like Mom, right? So.
Yeah, just like Mom. That's exactly right. She's going to turn 3 in a few weeks. Her 3-year-old. Yeah, she just said, "Roof. Are you a pretty girl?" Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. She usually answers to treats and pretty girls. Hi.
All right. Well, Katie, we appreciate you taking the time to tell us about the.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coming up.
I wish you could come to the film festival. Can you do that? Can you come this year?
Well, we'll see what the schedule goes. I got myself a wedding on Saturday, and we'll see how the weekend goes, and we'll definitely keep that in mind. But anyway, the Star City Film Festival coming up this weekend in Lansing. SacredNoiseSociety.org is the place to go, and we appreciate Katie O'Regan telling us all about it, and Lacey as well. Sorry for not leaving you here, Lacey. All right. Thank you to our guest on the program this morning, Makayla Rethamel from the Allamakee County Fair. Fair next Wednesday through Sunday, That's the 19th through the 23rd in Waukon. Thanks to Makayla, and best of luck with the fair next week. We want to thank Dan Marx, Winneshiek County Sheriff, for joining us as well. And we also want to thank Katie O'Regan, the Star City Film Festival coming this weekend to Lansing. All of the information available at the Sacred Noise Society website. Don't forget, we put these shows on YouTube each and every week. As we always tell you, you're a busy people or a busy person if we're talking singular. You're all busy people if we're talking plural. You may not always have time to turn on the radio, turn on the streaming device at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning, but we feel we get to talk to interesting people. We talked to 3 of them this morning, and we want to bring these interviews to you on your time. So if you're out gallivanting around YouTube, go to 713 YouTube or 713 Our Time program. That's a great way to search it. We also put these shows on our Facebook pages of all of our LA communications radio stations, so you can watch YouTube each and every week if you miss it on the radio. Again, thank you to our guests. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Decorah Bank and Trust, and most importantly, we thank you, that's right, you, for tuning in, for watching, or for logging on to Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.